Hi everybody. I'm back. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some things because I just had something on my mind. Um, so today is November 29th. It's one of my best friend's birthday. So happy birthday, you know who you are. Um, I just kind of wanted to talk about I wrote it down so I had to remember. I wanted to talk about owning yourself and like not selling yourself for other people. And I'm not talking about selling yourself as far as like literally selling yourself. And I'm not talking about owning yourself as like literally having the rights to yourself. I'm talking about if you know that you're capable of X, for you to stand in that and to be confident and what you know you're capable of, and just being confident in who you are and not feeling like you have to sacrifice who you are for other things, or that you can't get to a certain level because of anything that could be holding you back. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I know that I'm a dancer and I've been dancing my whole life. And as far as I can remember, I've been dancing since forever. Like my mom told me that when like before I was born, she would put music to her stomach and I would be kicking and I would be dancing like I was feeling it. So I've just been a dancer my whole life. I was dancing in church. I did ballet growing up. I did gymnastics. I was doing dance all the time. Um, so people knew that I was doing dance and I was good. Like I wasn't just a person that just liked to dance and wasn't good at it. I love to dance. It's my passion and I was also good at it. So I would dance a lot in church. I would come up with dances. I would do all these things. People would be like, "Yeah, she's the dancer," or all this other stuff. So then like they started labeling me as the dancer. And I knew that I liked to dance. I knew what I liked, but because of images that I saw of dancers, or certain ideas that were portrayed about dancers, they I didn't feel like I fit into that category. I kind of felt embarrassed. I felt like I'm not good enough to call myself a dancer. I'm not this enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not whatever it is that I thought. Like a lot of the girls at my elementary school were more social as far as outside of the classroom. And so I didn't feel like I was popular enough to be considered a dancer. I only danced at church, so nobody at school knew that I could dance. So then does my talent even really matter? Do I want to tell people this? And as I got older, I didn't really like calling myself a dancer, but if somebody said, "Oh, is her the dancer?" I would just say, yeah, because I know who you're talking about, but I would not call myself that. And so it was only until recently that I would tell someone that, yes, I'm a dancer. Yes, I do this. Yes, this is who I am. And so I have to own who I am, and I can't sell myself short for what other people want me to think. And even though no one said, I want you to think that you're not a dancer, it's just that the images that are portrayed aren't you for whatever your passion is. And I'm not talking to people. If this isn't you, then this isn't you. That's like, I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to the people that may have a passion but don't feel like they fit into that box of what that passion looks like, what that art looks like, whatever it is, what it looks like. And so I just kind of wanted to talk and say, like, I'm 20. I just had a birthday this past month. And I'm like claiming, I feel like I'm walking into a time where I'm taking back everything that I um, left out, or that um, if there was a time in my life where I felt like I wasn't good enough, and this is that time for me to tell everybody else, yes, I am, and you can fight me about it. Like, because you spend so much time hating yourself, you spend so much time telling yourself that you're not good enough, you spend so much time trying to compensate for what you really want to do versus what you think will make you successful, because you think your passion isn't going to make you successful because you don't fit into that box um, of what success looks like for that field of what you're interested in. And so you end up spending a lot of time trying to accommodate and cope with what you know to be relevant for what you want to do. And you're really not, you're selling yourself to the world. Like you're telling the world, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll go along with your norms. I'll go along with what you say is and isn't cool. I'll go along with what you say I can and cannot do. The world will tell you you can't do anything. Like, they'll tell you that everything that you're doing is wrong. And so, like, how long are you going to be wrong? Like, how long are you going to tell yourself that I'm not good enough for this? It's not really fair to yourself to do that. Um, and then you have to change at your own pace, because I know, like, I can speak about this, and I people love listening to other people's stories because it helps them feel empowered. But the thing is, like, you have to start somewhere. You have to do what you want to do when you feel like it. You can't wait on nobody else. You have to start with yourself. And I'm not saying that you have to start with yourself as far as like full fledged, because it's a process, it's a journey. The whole transformation of owning yourself and finding yourself and believing that you are who you say you are, or to actually say that you are X because you know you are X, instead of trying to say you're Y because people don't think that you could be X. You don't need to do that. Like, it's easier once you start standing in your truth. You'll regret all those times that you were not confident, or you'll start regretting all those times that feel like you spent so much time being unhappy, you spent so much time being unfocused and focusing on things that can help you get by, because you didn't want to be looked at as the person that was not doing the norm. Like, who cares about being normal right now? um I don't know. And I understand that, like, taking the easy way to live your life is to do it so that people won't have to ask questions. It gets difficult always having to explain yourself to people, and you don't always want to explain to somebody why you're doing what you're doing. Sometimes you just want to say, I just want to do this. And you don't want people to question you about it. You don't want to have long drawn out conversations. I don't like having to always explain to people how dance is going to be my life. I don't always feel like explaining to people how I'm going to be successful in it and how I don't need all these extra backups. Like, I have the backup because I feel like my backup is another passion of mine, but I don't think it's fair to myself for me to cheat myself to put more energy into that backup when the passion is what I was born with. Like, you can be taught education, you can be taught things that you learn in school, but a gift, a talent, some of those things that you're born with, and to just like give those up or to put those on the back burner for something else just because you feel like you're not good enough for it, you're cheating yourself. And you're playing yourself. And when you realize that you shouldn't be, and when you realize that you don't have to, and that you let what other people think get the best of you, you're gonna be mad, and you're gonna spend a lot of time. I mean, you're gonna be mad that you allowed yourself to be played by yourself. Because that's really what it did. Like, you trained your mind to believe something, and now you're acting on what you've taught yourself to believe. And then that's not good for you, because now you have to spend like work extra hard to reteach yourself, and then that journey is more difficult. Everyone has their own, like, everyone has their own path, everyone has their own struggles that they get to. But as far as when we talk about your talent, it's very easy to get discouraged, which is why I say, if you have a passion, just go after it. Like, just do it. No one's gonna, I don't know why I have all these headphones. No one's gonna make you stop. Like, if you really wanted to, who's going to stop you, really? Like, you're the one that's stopping you. You're probably the reason why you aren't as far as you could be, because you were doubting yourself. And you allowed other people to doubt you, and you believed them. You can't let that negative energy feed into you. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you have a passion, you have to go after that. If you're just going to let somebody tell you no, then what you're doing now that you feel like is making you successful, somebody else could come to you and say, oh, you wrong. Like, no, you can't do that. And so you're always going to be unstable. You're always going to be switching. You're not going to be consistent, because you are going to care about what people think. And so why should you care about what people think for something that's personal to you? Because your life is your life. They're not paying the bills for you. And so why would you try to do something that is not feeding your soul when it could be? Like, you could choose to create something for yourself that helps you or that makes you happy. Because I'm sure everyone has that dream. Not everyone, but I'm sure a lot of people have those things that they really want to do, but they were discouraged about it. So now they feel like they just can't do it, or they've just given up that part of their life. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know when, like, the age is for it to be okay to actually give that up. I don't think there really is a time. I think that if you still have the passion, then you have the energy to do it. If you can still dream about it, then it can actually happen. There's people that live to be 120 years old. It really don't matter like how old you are. It's really just about your drive. And like, some people realize their worth. Some people realize how great they are once they're old and once they've been through things and all this other stuff. And they look back and they see how youth have support in different areas of their life nowadays. And they're like, if I had this person talking to me, I would have done this a lot different. And so I want to be the person talking to whoever's listening that's going through this, to know that you have support, because you have other people that are trying to do the same thing. Everyone wants to just do what they want to do. Everybody wants to be happy. People don't want to have to hide themselves, but we also don't want to have to fight with the world to prove ourselves to people. But if you have a passion, you're going to have to, because this life, things don't come easy. They just don't. Like, you just can't ask for something and it happens. You can't just when something doesn't happen, you can cry about it if you want to, but that's not going to make change. um and I'm not saying that you should. I'm not saying that you should stop what you're doing and just go after your passion, because if it's not wise to do, then it's just not wise to do. Don't do something stupid. But I'm saying, if you're in a place where you know that you are consciously putting yourself in a position that's making you unhappy, you can change that. You can change that. That doesn't mean you have to stop everything that you're doing, but you can start off small. You can say that, okay, well, let's say that, let me think of an example. So let's say that you want to um let's say that you want to start traveling. You don't have to just up and go to a whole nother country just because you say, I want to travel. You don't have to quit your job to travel. Because if that's not wise, then that's not wise. If you're scared, then you're scared. You have to work through it. But if you know that you have a dream, if you know you have a passion to do something you haven't done before, or something that you've been wanting to do for a long time, then starting somewhere is helping you get closer to that, rather than running from it because you think that you're safer in this box that you're at. So say, let's go with this scenario. So if you want to travel, I would say that if you live in a city, go to a part in the city that you've never been before. Go to somewhere that you never thought about going. Do something that you usually wouldn't do, and have people around you that would encourage you to do that. Not people that's just gonna be stupid and just do anything wild. Like, no, if you have risk involved in this, then don't do something stupid. But you don't want to have people that's gonna discourage you along the way. So if you want to travel and say something that was holding you back is that you don't have money, and you ain't never have money and you always broke, but you want to travel, that's not an excuse. You can go like around the corner, and not saying like that's the limit, but then every time you can go farther. You can if you're in the city, there's public transportation that can take you different places. You can see different things. You can look up free events that happen in your area, and you can look and see what those events are, something that you would be interested in. Maybe say, oh, I can do this on a weekend. Just find time and make time for it, because time is not going to do it for you. Like, you can't just say, I want to do it, and it's just going to happen. You have to work. If you're going to ask God for something, then you need to show God that you're willing to actually put in the work. Okay. So you're not, like, if you're an adult and your kid asks you for something, you're not just going to get it to them and thinking that they're going to break it. Like, you want to be able to give them the opportunity for them to use it. And so if you have a passion, then you need to go after it. If you are, if you pray or whatever like that, if you ask God for the opportunity, he may give you the opportunity depending on if that's what he wants. But you have to be able to go after it. Don't just say that I want this and just be sitting in your house like, I didn't get my package yet. It didn't happen. Like, no, you have to go after it. You have to tell yourself what you want. And so for me, like with dance, I never, only recently could somebody come up and like ask you like, what do you do? And I say, I'm a dancer, you know? And usually I feel uncomfortable. Like naturally I feel like someone's gonna look at me sideways like you know, and I shouldn't feel that way, but that's how I do. But at the same time, I have to start somewhere in order to feel confident in myself. If I want to be a dancer and I want to be successful in my field, if I want to do all these things, then I have to convince myself that I'm worth what I'm doing in order to get other people on board. That's how it works. You need to have confidence in yourself. It's going to help you progress. It's going to help you grow. People don't have confidence all the time, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're limited. That doesn't mean that they're not going anywhere. That doesn't mean that they're like less of a person or they're not as good of a person. That doesn't mean that they're vulnerable. It just means that they're not at the place in order to feel confidence in themselves. But when you do get that confidence in yourself, you'll wish you would have had it earlier. Like you'll wish you would have had it all along. Like even when it comes to like who I am and as far as my appearance, like growing up, I didn't necessarily like having kinky hair. I didn't necessarily like being dark skinned. And then when I started having pride in myself and realized that even though I know I'm beautiful, I don't need to make everybody like me. You know, I was kind of upset that I didn't realize this way, you know, ahead of time, and I would not have been worried about what people thought. I would have been much of a happier person. I would have I would have treated myself differently, you know. And not even when it comes to like physically, like mentally, you're beating yourself up. Don't beat yourself up because you think you can't do something. Because even if other people think you can't do something, all they're doing is thinking about it, and you're the one that's actually stopping you. Because if you change that mindset, it's always that person where everybody talks about them, but they don't do what everybody else says, and then they're progressing in what they want to do because they're not giving those other people the time to say, um, yeah, you know, they're not actually, I kind of just lost my train of thought. But y'all know what I mean. Like, all I'm trying to say is that if you want to do something, then you have to start it for yourself. And that if you feel like you have a passion that other people won't support, get people behind you to support what you want to do. And in order for that to happen, you have to be confident in yourself, which is not going to happen overnight. I mean, it might, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's a journey. There's going to be times where you're going to feel very confident. There's going to be times where you're going to want to backslide. And then for me, like I've been growing into being more confident in the things that I do and the things that I say. And, you know, it shows up however it shows up. But what reminds me that I'm treating myself right, that I'm doing good, is when other people tell me how when I talk to them, it makes them feel another way, or it helped them realize that they need to do X, or that they should treat themselves better, or that they should think before they do this, or that they should just go after their passion instead of like trying to like distract yourself with things that you feel are more logistically possible, you know. So when other people come to me with that, then it makes me feel like, well, I'm doing something right. And so I need to be doing something right for myself, at least working on myself, in order for those other people to see that in me, in order for other people to be inspired. And you're not doing it to inspire people, but when you stand up for yourself, other people will see that they need to stand up for themselves, especially if you look like them. Because that representation matters. And if you don't have that representation, then you need to be that representation for other people. It's not your responsibility, but it's something that can motivate you because you know that what you're doing is not only for you, that is also helping other people. And it's a movement. It's a way that you're growing. So I would just say, you know, if you really want to grow, and you want to do something different in your life and you feel like you've been putting off this passion of yours for a long time and all these other things, I would say just go after it and just do it. And if you need a plan, then make a plan. If you want to go slow, go slow. If you need people behind you to support you, tell them, I need you to support me because I want to do X. Like, let them know. If you feel like they're not going to support you, then find people that will. If you don't have anybody, do it on your own. I'm here to support you. I believe, you know, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So I'm here as a support. You can find support groups online. Like, there's a lot of ways in order for you to feel confident, and there's a lot of people out there in the world that are there to encourage you because they're doing the same things that you're doing. So that's all I had to say. That's my little rant. But today, have a blessed evening. Bye.